Good morning everyone. This may look familiar. This is the bit of land we rented for a bit and managed to swap Rose's axle and the front springs on Rose, which if you haven't seen that series, I'll link it in the card up here. However, today's job is here. I've got 2 cans of oil and some coolant. Coolant is just because I ran out, but oil, we've got to do an oil change on Rose because she's only done 4,000 miles in the last year, but we've only done 900 miles. But I still want to do a service on her because it's old thick oil and I just like to get it done and often. And I put an ad out on the Facebook groups for mobile welding and that has gone mad. I am pretty much booked up for next month, so I'm going to be dotting about the Highlands welding pretty much for the whole summer. So I can't really think about Rose, so I'm going to get this oil change out of the way and then that should be me good for the summer until we hopefully go abroad, and then I'll have to do another one. Because I like to do him every 5,000 miles, and I can't remember when the last time I did it. I don't know if I did it here or if that was just the fuel. I can't remember when the last time I did it was, but this is where this little, if you've noticed in any pictures or anything, this book here is a log book and I'm now logging it all down because my memory is not great. I thought, you know, it doesn't matter, I'm never going to sell her, I don't need to keep track of all of this stuff. Turns out I forget when I do these things. So yeah, I'm going to write down how many miles she's got right now, which is about 264,000 on the dot. And yeah, I'm going to note down that an oil change was done now. And then one other job, as I said in the update video, and some bits may have been mentioned, I don't know because I've not edited all the videos yet from the trip, but basically it's not all smooth sailing with Rose. Since the accident, which you can go check out in the card up here, and I'll put some clips in now. I shouldn't be laughing, but you have to laugh or else you'll cry, as Monty Python says. Since that, the structural integrity of this right corner has not been the best for the cab. Structurally, she's sound, but for the cab mount, it did kind of, because I'd done so much patching on this corner already, it kind of wasn't as strong as it originally was, and then that happened. So my aim this summer is to get that fixed, but I've got to temporarily fix it for now. So I did try and do it when I was here in the winter and basically spot weld these 2 panels together, because this is a new panel that I put in. It's about this big and it's the floor pan, and I didn't spot weld it to the chassis bit here. And then I did last winter because it was causing an issue last summer. And then I also welded all the way along here and down here, and that fixed it for about a couple 100 miles. But as soon as we got to the really ruggedy, tough terrain of Scotland, it's then just cracked it here, here, here again. So I've got to try and reinforce all of this. So quick, get the welder out and sort this out. I have got a video coming up of everything wrong on Rose, which will probably be one of the next videos I record and you'll see, but it's currently the 18th of April, so yeah, we're a bit behind. Oh, I wasn't sure if it was going to reach. Perfect. If I show you up here, up there, you can see that crack as well. This is all from the mad Scottish roads and it already being a little bit damaged. Over here you can see where it's slightly damaged, so I need to sort that for the MOT and for the safety of the van. Right, I've spot welded the floor back up. When I get to Ben's back down south on Anglesey, I'm going to take all of the front panels back off, cut it all out behind the steering column and do it properly. And there is still some water getting in, not as bad, but there is still some. So yeah, we just need to take the scuttle out as well because it's, yeah. Life with a 30-year-old van. I just fixed up this little corner because there was a massive gap here before. And what I did is stick a screw in there, which I know looks a little bit crude, but it is basically the same. It is screwed in. It just needed an extra one because I put this repair in the bottom and then I had to put a bit of weld there because I'd missed that bit because that was by design on the old panel, but it didn't really work here. So yeah, that's all welded up, which means that joins much nicer. I know it's not perfect, but I'm not here for perfect. As long as it's not rusty, that's the main thing. That's why that is bugging me. But to do it properly, as I say, I've got to take everything off, so I just don't have the time for that right now. That'll do for now. Hopefully she's not going to sound like she's lifting off, and that should last till we're back down south and I can rip it all apart. And my mate's now got a barn, so even if it's crap weather like this, we can still crack on. Tomorrow I'm going to do an oil change on Rose because we need to get the filter, and we didn't end up going into town today. And how often do I do that? As I say, I do it quite often. How often should you do it? I would say at least once a year and 10,000 miles. But older vehicles prefer more frequent changes and newer vehicles don't mind so much. That is by design, but in my opinion, it's maintenance. Engines need maintenance, so just look after them and then they will do you well. Good morning, everyone. Today I need to get the oil filter to do that service I was on about. Why you shouldn't own an old van, because if you don't do maintenance, they are high maintenance to a certain extent. But when you do the maintenance, you then get reliability out of it. So I've just arrived to pick up my parcel, and we have arrived at Argos because I usually do a click and collect off eBay. And little trick, if you have your address not set to the Scottish Highlands, then any click and collect, even on things that don't ship to the Scottish Highlands, will click and collect to the Scottish Highlands, if you get what I mean. So yeah, really good tip. eBay, click and collect. Otherwise, sometimes I use Amazon. Anything I found above Fort William and Inverness, towards Skye and all of that lot, and the Highlands where we've just been, there's no eBay, it's just Amazon. So it's a bit of a downfall because I like using eBay. They're brilliant for car parts. Today I've just got to pick up an oil filter. It's really simple. They just give you a little QR code. So I've got mine up here. I'm just going to go collect it. Right, there we are. Simple as that. Little oil filter. There's a weird ticking on Rose. So I've got to inspect that when we park up. Ah, it is never ending. I am going to talk about in this video why you should not own a classic van. Firstly, let's head off. I think my welding has definitely done something, but there was just a loud bang there. I'm going to look at this weird ticking sound because I don't like it. Don't like it one bit. I'm hoping it's just the injector ticking, because that's probably just going to sound worse than it is. I don't want it to be anything like... Other thoughts are potential chain, because I never change the chain. Timing chain, although they make a distinct rattle on idle, so I don't think it's that. Luckily, on a rainy day like today, you can just do it all from in here. Let's lift this out. And hello, engine. So I have a feeling like one of these two front injectors are my problem. So when I put my hands, sorry for the jangly shite, when I put my fingers on the top of the injector pipes, this was the same last year, and it's hard to tell if it's got worse, but basically you can feel like a ticking with the RPM, but the back three you can't, but the front two are so close to each other and they're clipped to each other, so it's really hard to tell if there's two gone or one going or two going. There's definitely at least one going. So as you'll later find out, it turns out it's nothing to do with injectors. But anyway, I'll still go on to my story because it's quite interesting about how old parts are much cheaper than newer vehicle parts and more reliable. Now, I'm not sure if I've talked fully about my plans with the injectors. Why you shouldn't own a classic van. One of them being very high maintenance. Now, I don't see the maintenance as repairs, it's just maintenance, and I enjoy looking after this van because I love it, and I think you have to be passionate about a van. If you're passionate and you're willing to learn, I think a classic van is brilliant because they are simple to fix if you're willing to learn, and if you're passionate about it and you don't mind doing precautionary things that don't need doing yet. Spending a few extra quid on it to save a future breakdown, like I do all the time. I was planning on refurbing the injectors, so with these you don't need new nozzles, so I'm sure you've heard like injectors are a nightmare and stuff, and in modern vehicles they are, like that one. If you'd have had to buy new injectors for that, it'd be a pain in the arse, because you've got they usually say replace them all, and there's no replaceable parts. You have to literally buy a full set, and usually they're about 200 quid each, so you're looking at almost £1,000 for a new set of injectors. These, I've been messaging people, and even though she's done 264,000 miles, everyone's like, it'll be fine, you don't need new nozzles. The nozzle is the bit you change on the end that makes a nice cone pattern. Now, for those that don't know, I'm not going to fully explain this, but this is an indirect injection engine, which means the injector... Just for a little bit more clarity, the injector does not go directly into the combustion chamber where the piston is. It goes into a little pre-chamber, which is what I'll explain now. As I was saying, the indirect injection, my injector goes into a little, it's called a pre-chamber, and I believe it's got like a little ball in it, and basically the injector sprays a cone over it, which then mists the pattern, and it does it in like a jittery way. It goes bop, 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 it sprays it, and it's called aerating the diesel to allow air for combustion, a bit like a fire. You need air for the fire, and that's where the glow plug is. So you've got the injector and the glow plug, and then this little ball that it sprays it round, and that's where your combustion happens. And then it comes out of like some nozzles into the cylinder, and then it sprays a nice mist of diesel, and in the winter, nice warm diesel ready to get it going. And that is, it's less power efficient that way, but this is the same design. If you've heard of the OM606 engine that they put in Land Rovers and stuff, that is the same engine that I have in here. It's just the twin overhead cam version and 6 cylinders instead of 5. But they get 700 horsepower, 500 horsepower out of those engines, no problem, with the same standard injectors. So yeah. And also, as I was saying, these can be sent off, cleaned for £25-30 an injector, sent back and fully refurbished. Even if you've got a problem with it, they can like grind back the existing nozzle and give you it back, all for £30 an injector. That's just mad when you think of today's prices of £200 an injector, and you've got to replace the whole thing. These are refurbishable. So yeah, my mate Charlie, who was up here in his horse box, he's done all his injectors, and his work has the equipment. So I might even go down and just change all of the nozzles in them myself. But on top of that, I'm going to buy a spare, so I've got 6 nice injectors, and I'll have 1 stashed in the back in case I get any problems. But my thinking is one of the injectors is on its way out, creating a less efficient burn, therefore probably massively reducing power as well. And this is the thing, you can see and hear problems like this when you've got your electrical vans with your lights on your dashboard. Where's that? Could be anywhere in the wire, could be the sensor itself, but also could be a break in the wire. Anywhere. Here, other than the ignition barrel, it doesn't need any cables to run. Absolutely brilliant. Simplicity. And, as I say, often cheaper. I know people think, oh, you've got loads of repair costs. You've got a lot of maintenance cost, but it's just maintaining. And then when you come to actually fix a problem, it doesn't cost that much. And people think parts availability is so poor for these, but it's not. You can buy a brand new Bosch injector for £115 if you wanted. Still cheaper. But there are also just the nozzles you can buy for about £30 each. I could buy the original one for £20 from Germany. £20! You can buy bits for these. It's not out of the ordinary. Like, people do loads of work on these. These are becoming an iconic classic, and when things become iconic classics, the parts availability starts to climb again, and that's what's happening with these vans. And that's why I encourage all of you to get one, so we can be a massive community and help each other and help the parts demand go up, and therefore keep more of them on the road. I think this is from my dad, because he did keep going. Have you picked up the parcels yet?
Stuck to the fucking net.
I don't trust newer parts, even if it's Bosch and stuff. The newer parts are still not as good as they were back in the day. And when they used to make things to last and repairable, that's why you should buy one of these. But you shouldn't if you, as I say, you need to be passionate about one of these. Anyway, let's go park up. We've found a new spot we've not been to yet. We've reached the gate, but nowhere yet has said no unauthorised vehicles, which is usually the sign for no vehicles. And it is a car park we're heading to on Google Maps, so just going to go through the gate. reason you might not want one of these is that's straight. And also, they're not very refined inside. As you know, you can never hear me. So that's another reason why you shouldn't get one if you like luxury. I love the sound. Sometimes I turn the music off to listen to the engine. But anyway, look at that view in front, the mountains. Hopefully we'll reach a car park. That's where we're going. It is a car park. But yeah. God knows, forestry track by the looks of it. Well, here we are. There is one car here, but there's enough room for about 3 or 4 vehicles actually. What a place! Look at that! Could do with a little rock to level me out, but otherwise, happy days. Not bad. What a fluke. Apparently there's some nice walks with Bothy. We just saw a barn as we were driving up here that might make some nice pictures. Now the welding I did has done something, but it's definitely still making a little bit of noise. So it's not fixed it, but as I say, I didn't think it would. I needed to add some more strengthening, but I couldn't be asked yesterday. But that bit of wood was just there, and I was like, that'll make a good levelling chop, that will. It's just needed this corner a little bit taller. Right, I am going to change the oil on Rose, so I'm going to get my overalls on. Because it's actually only 12:30 or something. It's not as late as I thought it was. And then I'm going to make some bread, because we're out of bread. And we got some nice fresh eggs from that local farm shop. And then look, we saw a deer. Surprised by a deer at this beautiful spot. Anyway, next, I only have my long lens for my camera, so I finally got the part to fix my main lens. So I fixed that. Here's a time lapse here. Now I can test out my wide angle lens on my camera again. Hello everyone. We're back on here. Let me know if it looks worse to you, because obviously it's meant to look better, hence the filming on here. But yeah, just time-lapsed fixing the lens, and I just replaced a little ribbon cable, but you kind of got to take it all off. I did watch a video back when James was here when we took it apart, and I was like, I wonder if I can buy the bit. And it was a £12 part, I think it was less than 15 quid. Came from China, so it did take a while, but I should buy another one just in case it snaps again. And then the main silver ring on the back as well, that has slightly snapped, so I've glued that back on for now, but really I could do with another one of them. But they're 20 quid just for the metal. Well, it's a silver plastic ring, it's not even metal, so yeah, mental. Anyway, yeah, hopefully it looks good being back on this camera. It's not as wide, but it's almost like a good, I prefer the focal length of this one. Anyway, enough about cameras. I didn't end up doing my oil change today because I wanted to do that and I had to chop wood because I did some washing this morning, so burner's on. And now I'm going to make some bread, which I was going to do before, let it ride for 2 hours and make some falafels and hummus, because we're going to have homemade falafel and hummus wraps. Good morning everyone. Busy. Despite there being a gate and it being all the way down here, it's still busy. we're heading just down this little track which we headed down yesterday. That is beautiful, that's the back of the Nevis range. There's some mountains there I'd definitely like to climb. Anyway, yeah, we're heading down here because we came down here yesterday and there's this weird water thing and I'm not really sure what it is. It's just open and it's got water trickling through it. It doesn't look like a hydro plant or anything. Well bizarre. I'll give you a show round because I fixed my lens now. So here it is, and as you can see there's the water pissing out. And then if you come and unlock this, yeah, some pipes, a big tank and a smaller tank. And I'm not really sure what it does. Because if you look here, there's two pipes that just end, and then there's no input pipe, and then there's another one trickling out. So any ideas on what that would be? It would be great, because I ain't got a clue. The building is a cool train bridge that Chelsea found yesterday. I haven't seen it yet, because I was too busy to get back to, well, I was going to do the oil change, but as I say, plans change for that. Hopefully do that today. But let's go see this train bridge. How cool is that?
And I think there's more all the way along here. I think this path was a train track once.
Yeah, because this bit just ends like it would carry on. Anyway, next it was time to start the van because I had work fitting a diesel heater job today. So off we go, which was just down the road. This was actually one of the easiest diesel heater jobs I've had yet, and it was a really nice one, and I did quite a tidy install. However, I forgot something. Well, I've gone and done it again, everyone. Taken a diesel heater job and forgot to tell them that the tank does not want to be full, and it's 3/4 full, and I've only got a bowl jack, so basically I'm here with my crude setup again. So I've got an old water pump where the pressure switch is broken and it's been used for diesel before now. Got some cable which we're going to rig onto their battery, and then we're going to pump the water out if I work out what I do with my knife. And this is my life. Fixing everything I own. Yesterday it was the camera. Today it's fixing my diesel pump, which is clogged up because of the diesel and it's seized because it's just a water pump. Let's spray it full of WD-40. And it appears to be working now. Does the pump work? One pump fixed. There's not much to go wrong in these big pumps, I've learned. I almost threw one away. Right, now then, this long bit goes in the tank, obviously, to suck the diesel out. I really hope this doesn't have an anti-siphon. I would call that a mission success. There we go, just need a little bit of a clean up. And then if we come around here, we've got a nice T25. Look at that view. Anyway, if you come around here, there's the back of the heater. There's the exhaust nicely pinned up there, around the heat shield. And I'm not sure if you can see, there's the fuel pump, turret plate, and then it goes into the main tank. Probably one of the nicest installs I've done. Quite easy as well. So I started about 9:30, and then, well, it's just gone 3 now, so that's not too bad, considering I had to spend half of the time fixing that fuel pipe to drain the tank to then drop it and fill it back up again, which I've just done. Result. Happy customer. Now I need to clean this up. There it is, ticking down. It's actually a nice Chinese actual 2 kilowatt. It's one of the baby. It's a 1 to 2 kilowatt. Very rare to find these ones. Most ones, whether they're branded as 2, 5 or 8, they're all the same. They're all a 5 kilowatt. There is no such thing as an 8 kilowatt unless it's actually a bigger unit, which don't really exist. They're quite hard to find. After yesterday's update on is Rose's injector going? Lots of people are saying exhaust gasket, which kind of makes sense because it was all of a sudden, and it does sound very that side of the engine near my foot when you're driving, so I'll look into that tonight as well. Anyway, let's crack on and shut this heater off because it's bloody boiling, it's 20 degrees. I wasn't bloody recording. You need to do some yoga, i.e. get your yoga mat out. And what I was just saying is I've got this is really good. Buy them from Euro car parts, anywhere really. Emptying the oil, you've got like a drain pan, filling it and a cap, and then you've got an air out. I've been loving using this in today's work. It's been great, and all you need is a 13. Probably shouldn't use this because it's alley, but I'm only going to put it on setting 1. As you can see, my lovely new leaf springs with the sticker still on. I buy these on eBay, but always a different listing every time. And usually I buy the Man one, but I didn't this time. I bought the Marl one, that brand. Comes with a new copper washer for the sump plug, and it's a generic filter, so not all of them fit. Oh, and take the oil cap off because otherwise it glugs and makes a right mess. Oh man, that was a projectile and a half. Completely miscalculated that. As you can see, it's like water at this consistency. However, in the winter, it's like glue. 15W40 mineral is what I use in Rose. And you can just about get away with that with Scotland's temperatures. That's all well and good, Max, but are you looking where your oil's going? And you can just about get away with this with Scotland's temperatures. Oh, fuck, Jesus Christ. Not paying attention. Let's not record. Ah, dear. Ah, dear. All over my new nice impact gun. Was it worth using it for that? I don't think so. Right, what I was saying was 15W40 where you could just about get away with in Scotland's temperatures down to about -10. I wouldn't go much below there. She did see -15 last winter, but not too bad. any colder, definitely I would go 10W40, and I think that's about as low as I'd put in it, to be fair. I think that will go down to about -30, -40 if it had to, with an engine preheater I would have in that case anyway, so it wouldn't be massively important because you're not starting the engine from cold anyway, but 10W40 would be nice to have because you're definitely not going to get any hot days while you're over in Scandinavia or something or like that, if I take Rose there, because that has always been the plan. Mercedes did make a lot out of alley on these vans, and also then they're not made anymore. Yeah, that's another reason why you shouldn't get one. But as long as you're careful with these things, you know which bits you can't get, then you should be good. Anyway, onto the oil filter. Right, this is where the oil filter is. That's why I hate getting to it. Right up there behind the spring with a load of cables in front of it. It's because on the car, it was at the back of the engine bay. And that was quite easy to get to. It was facing upwards. And then they just turned it downwards for these. And it's tucked behind the step, behind the spring, with all the wires behind the starter motor. What a nightmare. I just pulled that from the bottom of the anti-roll bar. Oh, I think that's the bush. Both sides. I think this track has ruined it in Scotland. I replaced them a year ago. Looks like I'll need some more. Forward. And you get loads more oil. This thing takes about 9 litres. Now that's mostly stopped dripping. You just pull this out. Oh. Make more mess, which we're trying not to do. And then, using the little handle thing, you can just bob the old filter out. New filter. Put that in like that. Let's try and get this down here. Now I need a whole one of these, and then I put most of the second one in. I put about 8 litres in, and it will be over max, but by the time it runs it around the filter it drops instantly, so it's not too bad. I can still feel the heat off the engine. And then I'll stick the old oil in these bottles. Yeah, just above max. Give her a crank. Beautiful. Right, let's see if we can find an exhaust manifold leak, because that would be brilliant. There's the exhaust manifold. Suppose I best fire up and see if I can find a problem. Take her out of gear. Attempt 2. Let's have a look. In a decent turn, look, almost a quarter of a turn. I don't know what else to try. By doing that, the noise does sound like it's coming from that front injector again. So I'm again back at that injector, that #1 injector, which I've been thinking about for ages. Anyway, this video is going to be way too long, so and it's going to end right here, right now. So if you did enjoy it, hit the like button, drop a comment down below. So for now, I'll hold off. I'm not going to buy the injector yet. And we'll do a few hundred miles, do some work around Scotland, and we'll see how she does. But that's what I mean. I have full confidence in this. Like, even though she's making a weird noise, I'll still drive her 100 miles around Scotland. So let's go. Catch you in the next one.